Hi, I'm Sherry Levery, Crisis Management Institute. I've spent my entire professional career working either with children who were facing a crisis or a trauma, or children who have survived one, or working with the adults who work with those students. Because of Hurricane Sandy, we wanted to get some helpful information up on our website for you, and this is just a short video to look at how do we get through week one. The storm has huge areas of devastation, so you'll have children coming to school with just a wide variety and a wide range of needs. Who could have ever guessed that we would have an entire neighborhood burned to the ground in Queens? Add to that the photoshopping that people are doing, so children are seeing these images of sharks being in the water in our neighborhoods in New Jersey. You know, in this new information age, even if we as adults are very careful about how we source our information, students are going to come to us with a range of beliefs and stories and needs. So let's look at what we as teachers and counselors and administrators can do to help students who are returning to school. The first thing is to recognize that just the fact that school is starting back up is itself a huge step back towards normalcy. For those students who have lost their homes or had major destruction, your classroom and your school in operation will be a great source of stability for them, especially for those students from less stable and more challenged homes. You're their anchor on a daily basis, and never more so than now. You're their community. They know that you care about them. So the fact that you show up and you're at school and you made it through the storm also, all of that is just a great source of security and help for them. So let's look at what they're going to need. We learned a great deal from Hurricane Katrina about what children and youth need in the aftermath of hurricanes. The first thing they need is to tell their stories. You know, lots of kids brought pictures the very first day back to school after Hurricane Katrina of the foundation where their house used to be. What we know is that kids need to tell their story a certain number of times so that they can just kind of diffuse that energy. So we need to make room for discussion in the classroom. It'll take months for us to do the cleanup, and even years perhaps in Queens, and so this processing will take time, and it will repeat itself over time, kind of based on what the needs are as you see them in your classrooms. So what we'll do is we'll continue to post updates on how to get through the rest of the time, but right now let's focus on this first week. Administrators, you know, the very first thing is, of course, you'll take time to meet with your teachers, but very often what we as administrators might do is give out information rather than seeking information. I think it's easy to feel if you're in charge that what you should be doing is clarifying and helping people know how they'll get through the day, and that often what's missed is the opportunity to get a lot of information about what they need and what they know. So make time first when you get into your gathering to check on them personally. How are you all? How are your houses? What are your needs just in your everyday life? What do you need from us just to be able to be back at school? They might have information about how the kids are doing, so that'll be helpful for you to know. What will kids ask that will be difficult for us to answer? If you ask teachers what it is they dread, you can come up with some solutions for them before they face kids who ask those difficult questions. So look for some solid answers that people can all kind of agree on. Then you might make a little bit of time for them to just talk in small groups, again, so that they have more time to diffuse their own anxiety, and let them come up collectively with some ideas for one another. And when they share that with the large group, it'll give you more information on your next steps as well. Counselors, we will continue to upload activities that you can amend and choose from so you know what will work best for your own situation. So keep checking the CMI website for updates. And also you can certainly contact us for what else would help. But for now, know that as you give teachers things that they can do in the classroom, the most number of kids get served with the greatest ease. So we'll continue to feed those activities to you and give you ideas. We're going to go ahead and discuss one or two of the activities now as we address what teachers can be doing. So teachers, just remember, the fact that you showed up gives a great deal of stability to your class and stability to your students. You don't have to have answers, and we can't take away their fears and pain. At first, what they need is just a sense of your being there for them and the ability to be able to talk and diffuse their own anxiety. So at first, you might start in a large group, and then you can move into smaller groups and independent activities. But first, in the large group, just let kids tell whatever they want to about the storm. And then you might suggest that they each draw a picture of the storm. And this first picture, don't suggest that they draw the strong part of how they got through the storm. Just tell them to draw anything they'd like to about the storm. And that way, those kids who are really struggling will, when they tell you about their picture, be able to tell you fears that they have that otherwise you might not find out. So that's the beginning of mastery, helping kids put names to their greatest fears and be able to identify them, what they've overcome. And then you might have them do pictures about how their family coped. What were the preparations? Candles, batteries, and so on. And then perhaps move to pictures about how the community coped. So talking about the police and firefighters and search and rescue and the power companies that came in to help and ambulances and so on. Another way of structuring this activity might be to put a large target on the board and in the very center have kids talk about what their families did. And then the next section out would be putting words in that next ring out that talk about what their communities did. And then in the third circle out, it might be how people from further away came in to help. Then what we can do is move from there to, well, what did we learn from this that will help us be wiser and more skillful in a future event? This is how we get better at coping and smarter at managing the big events in life. So you get that what we do is start by focusing on self, and then family, and then community, and then those from further out. How did our whole country rally up to help us? Do they know that people came from as far away as Oregon to help put electricity back into their wires? So, how do we get through these difficult times? We get through them together. So you see the process here, acknowledging their fears, naming them, pointing out who helped them cope, reinforcing their own resilience, and reinforcing how many people came together to help them. So let's recap all of this. We can't take good care of other people unless we take good care of ourselves. And that means that as administrators, if you support your staff, they'll be able to support the students. There are lots of things you can do for parents and family. This is a quick video for schools, but we've also done one for parents, and we'd love for you to send that link to your parents so that they too can have some ideas about how to talk with their children as they're getting through the storm, for those of you who are still in it, and getting back to school and back into a sense of normalcy for those who have had the storm pass beyond you. So instead of just asking staff to do what you know they need to do, we also need to ask them, how do we best support you? The greater a sense of community you have within the school already, the better off you'll be. So we want to create easy ways for people to tell us what they need. And so that means administrators need easy ways to let staff know what would be helpful. Staff need to be able to tell their students and their administrators what they think would be helpful. Most of all, students need to be able to tell us what they need. I also want to acknowledge that many of you have sustained a loss of life for someone in your community or someone in one of your schools, and I know that this first overview doesn't go deeply enough for you if you had loss of life, so we'll be doing one of those next. But we wanted to just get some videos up that were more general. So we'll continue to work on those, what some of the next steps are that your schools can be doing over the next weeks. We'll also be uploading PDFs and downloads and activities that you can share with teachers and that you can send home with parents. Our website is cmionline.com. C like crisis, M like management, I like institute, online.com. We also want to let you know that we welcome your suggestions. We want to know what would be helpful. We want to know how you'd most like us to support you over the coming days and weeks. We know that some of you are still in the midst of this, while others of you are beginning to rally towards how you'll start school back up again. We also want you to visit the CMI Facebook page as well, because we'll share links to other resources there. As I mentioned, we have the video for parents, and we'd like you to send that link on to your parents. I'd also encourage you as school people to watch that video for parents, because I suggest activities in that you'll easily be able to amend to work in the classroom as well. Feel free to call us. The office phone is 503-585-3484, and let us know what will help. I'll be returning to the East Coast again very soon to do the workshops that we canceled this week when the hurricane came. And when I do that, I'll probably have days between those workshops that are available. So if your district would like some help and you would like perhaps to have me come in to lead staff meetings or parent meetings in the evening, I'd be glad to be whatever support and help I can be. So please feel free to get in touch with us. I also want to end just by saying that I just appreciate what you as school people do for our students every single day, but never more so than at times like this. For some of those kids, you are the anchor that lets them feel safe in life. I hope that the families whose children that you serve appreciate how much you do for them. I appreciate all you do for our kids every day. Thanks so much.